That is a lie straight from the pit of hell. As I suspected, I got everyone all in a tizzy with my last video, and I just had to go ahead and do a follow-up on some of the comments. Okay, this first comment says, "You seem pretty judgmental to me. You have no idea anything about her or her child to know her living situation." First of all, yes, that is right. That is why I was making all of these qualifying statements throughout the entire video. I don't know if she is pregnant and her husband just died. They didn't mention that. Usually they do mention it. They didn't mention if she's on food stamps or if she's going to the food pantry. I'm assuming she's just buying her food with cash, because I would think that they would say if she was getting her money from the food pantry or food stamps. So I know there are lots of qualifying things with her situation that I have no idea with. So I'm not personally counseling this woman. I'm just showing you what I've observed in this news story. Then she continues on to say, "You're going to tell me that where you live, oranges are 82 cents or 82 cents a pound in Wyoming. I call that bull. I am 2 states from Mexico and 4 states from Florida, and cheapest oranges are $1.25 per pound." Okay, so fruit is more expensive there. I mean, I can't help that you say that your fruit prices are higher, but yes, 67 cents a pound just 2 weeks ago is how much oranges were on sale here in Wyoming. And I didn't get a screenshot of the ad. I should have, but that's what I'd pay. You can call me a liar if you want, but that's exactly what the price was. Furthermore, she is not the middle class. I know. That's what I'm saying. You are poor. 90% of the people who are poor in this country are poor because of their choices. They are poor because of their choices. You are unbelievable. I was born and raised in Wyoming, and groceries are a lot higher than the prices you are quoting. Yes, they are a lot higher. But by shopping sales and shopping the ads and looking for clearance items, I can still keep my grocery bill very low, about $400 to feed 4 people. And that's 3 guys in that grocery bill. How much is her rent? I don't know. Where does she live? In Tennessee, apparently, according to the newscast. Why too judgmental towards someone you have no knowledge about? Strawberries here are $1.89 a pound. Blackberries are $1.47 a pint. Blueberries are $1.79 a pint. With WIC, you have to buy the products the state listed, not off-brand. I don't know if she's using food stamps or she says she's getting WIC, but the thing is, I'm giving you solutions to these problems. You can sit there and tell me I'm lying all you want, but I have actually lived through this. My mom was a single mom. I was the one when I was 15, 16, going to the grocery store sometimes. And yeah, I would go and look for the cheapest bread because we just didn't have the money to buy the fancy schmancy stuff. I would go buy apples or oranges because we couldn't afford blueberries. Now, as far as the blueberries go, everybody's all onto these blueberries. Listen, those are expensive. Even blueberries on sale are still way more expensive than bananas or oranges. If you look here, this looks like the package that she got, which was $6.74. That's around $2.50 to $3.50 a pound for blueberries that she got. I'm sure Tennessee has fruits and vegetables, bananas, apples, oranges that are cheaper, grapes that are cheaper than blueberries. Now, yes, I know she may have gotten those at the food bank, but they didn't say that. So that's why I'm assuming she paid for it with her own money. And I'm going to go back and address the judgmental part in just a minute because I need to say a little bit more in depth on that. We are going to give you our Dining on a Dime cookbook ebook, volume number 1, free at livingonadime.com. Click on our shop, click on our ebooks, click on Dining on a Dime volume 1, add it to your cart. When you go to checkout, use the coupon code DINING1 and you will get our ebook absolutely free with no obligation and no strings attached. Visit us at livingonadime.com. The next one is, if you don't have massive sales on food, if your stores don't have massive sales on food, so you buy nothing at full price, your diet could become severely limited. That is a lie straight from the pit of hell. It is a lie. That is absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. The whole point of shopping while things are on sale is to save money today so you can stock up on things today, and then you pay the lowest price today. So let's say I buy 3 pounds of chicken at $1.97 a pound instead of $3.97 a pound. I've just bought, for this particular, let's say this single mom, if I bought that 3 pounds of chicken, there is 2 weeks worth of meals for me and my toddler son in that one $6 to $8 package of chicken. So you cook up all that chicken or freeze it in individual servings. So let's say she got it for $2 a pound. There's 3 pounds. That's $6. Versus $4 a pound times 3 pounds. That's $12. That's double the price. So then you take that extra $6 and you buy some canned goods or some frozen vegetables or cheese or milk that's on sale and throw it in your freezer, and you stock up on that, and then you will have, let's say milk. Let's say she finds milk for $1.27 a half gallon. So then she would take that extra $6 and buy 4 half gallons of milk, give or take. And then she's got milk for the entire month. See, it's a revolving process here. Once you start saving on one thing, then you take that money and you go and buy something else and you stock up on it. And then you take that savings and then you stock up on something else until you get to the point where your grocery bill is $100 to $200 for a single mom with a toddler. That's how the process works. So it's not true at all that you're not going to have very many choices in your food. The next comment is, I'm not one to comment often. However, sometimes my supermarket runs berries on sale for cheap. Yes, but berries on sale for cheap. You have to get blueberries for 99 cents a pound, which is extremely rare. Extremely rare. I have only found that once in my entire 30 years of grocery shopping have I found blueberries for 99 cents a pound. And if you live in a place where you can find it for that cheap, that's great. But the fact of the matter is, all your berries are more expensive fruits. They just are. And you can try to deny that all you want, but it's just the facts. Now, she goes on to say she's got a discount grocery store, got her groceries for $200. That's great. But this is what I want to point out on her comment. She said, I don't know this lady's situation with her son and where she shopped for certain. I'm sure she can cut back on places, but everyone is always going after the poor. Okay, yeah, I'm going after the poor. Why? Because she can change her situation and she doesn't have to be poor. No one living in the United States of America has to be poor, period. Maybe if you have some horrible disease and you have medical bills out the wazoo, I will give you that. I will give you that. But the majority of Americans in the United States do not have to be poor. They are poor because of their choices. Period. They are in credit card debt out the wazoo because they chose to eat out. They chose to go buy the purse that they really didn't need. They chose to go shopping for more clothes they didn't need. They chose to get their nails done. They chose to get their hair done and highlighted. They chose to get the fake eyelashes. That's not being poor. If you want the definition of true poverty, go look up some places like India and Africa where those poor kids are truly starving and truly destitute. 99.9% of the Americans in the United States are not truly destitute. And then the rest, even the poorest of the poor, are rich. And I've seen YouTubers who are on Social Security and they're complaining about how expensive groceries are and they just don't know what they're going to do. And I just don't know how I'm going to handle this. And then as I watch several of their videos, well, I guess I made some mistakes, but I just don't know what I'm supposed to do now. That's called consequences for your actions. It doesn't mean that we don't go along and try to help these people if they ask for help and want help. But if those are, let's say you've been smoking your whole entire life. Let's say you are obese and you get diabetes. You're smoking, you get cancer. Well, that is the consequences of your choices. You're in poverty now because you have been drinking sodas. Yes, you are in poverty because you have been going through the drive-through to get that takeout coffee because you're just too tired in the morning to literally spend 3 minutes to make a cup of coffee. These are all choices. It's nothing about picking on anyone. Now, one of the reasons why several years ago we changed our name from Living on a Dime to Living on a Dime to Grow Rich was for this very problem. We had all these whiny people who refused to take accountability for their actions and blame anyone and anything that they could for the situation they were in except for themselves. I understand there may be some moms where their husbands just clean out the bank accounts and leave them destitute. Believe me, I totally get that. But that is not the majority of people. And even in that kind of a situation, the majority of the time, you had some signs that your marriage was not doing very well. Why weren't you holding money back from the grocery bill and getting yourself a stockpile of cash that in case something happened, you would have a couple of $1,000s to get yourself restarted again if you needed to? Most marriages don't just fall apart out of the blue one day. You had some signs that something was not right. You were just burying your head in the sand and didn't want to admit that this was the problem. You didn't want to have to take responsibility for yourself and accept the fact that your actions have consequences. The next question is, food prices are high along with everything else, but have you noticed how packed the parking lot here is at the casino? Yes, I live in a town where gambling, there's, I don't know, a couple of casinos. The parking lot is full every night. I go to the thrift store and they're talking about how they're standing there at the thrift store waiting to get their stuff at the thrift store, but they've just blown all this money gambling at the casino. The same is with drinking booze, smoking, sodas, eating out, all of those things. All of those things are draining money that you could be using for your groceries. My son knew a gal and she was like, dude, do you have $25 that I could borrow to pay my rent? And he's like, well, no, because he knew this lady wasn't being responsible with her money. And she said, well, I was going to go to the casino and try and play it and see if I could get my rent money. Now, mind you, her rent is like $87 a month because she's on subsidized housing. Seriously? It's her choice that she's not making the rent. The next thing is, Fro's family says, why is it always food where people want to save money? Aren't there other things people can cut to save on besides food? Yes. Car payments, all those other things I keep listing all over the place. But food is a good excuse for wasting money. It's something that we have to live. So if we can make it sound like, oh, we're going to die because we're not going to get any food, then it sounds more dramatic, and people will feel more sorry for you because you can't afford to eat. So that's why they do that. Okay, so I want to go back just a little bit, because until you can understand this concept, you are never going to be you are never going to be rich. You are never going to get out of debt. You're never going to get a savings account. You're never going to get a nice house if you do not understand that your actions have consequences. My husband and I live in an extremely nice house, very nice house. Why? Are we lucky? No, we are not lucky. For 30 years, we have never had any car payments at all, like from a regular loan. We did once or twice take it out when my husband crashed a car. We took out $2,500 to buy a new one on our credit card at 0% interest. Got that paid off in 6 months. I think we did that twice. But other than that, I have never, ever, ever, ever in 35 years of being an adult ever paid 1 penny of interest on a car payment. I have never paid 1 penny in interest on student loans. I have, maybe both of us combined together in the last 35 years, 30 years that we've been married, have maybe paid $200, $300 in interest. And really that was just a business decision on our credit cards for that entire time. So guess where all those interest payments went? To saving money so we could buy a nice house. That's where all of that money went. Instead of paying all these banks money, we paid ourselves, and now we have a really nice house. Your actions have consequences. And people always are really quick to jump and say, oh, you're being so judgmental. You're just being so judgmental. That's the catchphrase that people always like to throw at you. Well, you're a Christian. You shouldn't be judgmental. As Christians, we are to judge people by their fruit. And we are to make wise decisions for us and our relationship as it goes with them and how they treat us, how they act around us. We are supposed to be judging people and their actions, especially when it comes to how it affects us. And that's hard for a lot of people to understand. But I would say the majority of people confuse being judgmental and being accountable. There's a huge difference between being judgmental and being accountable. And let me give you an example. Let's go back to the friend who was wanting to borrow the $25 to go gamble to pay her rent. Let's say that's your example. And she has a smartphone, and she's got her $1,500 smartphone right here. All right, excuse me, Chickie, you got a $1,500 smartphone and you're asking me to help you pay your rent. No, you should not have bought a $1,500 smartphone. There's absolutely no reason at all. You cannot give me one reason why someone who's poor needs a smartphone. It's just not there. There is no reason. So in that situation, I'm not being judgmental in saying, no, I'm not going to give you that $25. You got a $1,500 smartphone in your hand right there. That's not being judgmental. That is being accountable to me because you came to me and asked me for money because you aren't being responsible and paying your bills because you're blowing your money. Here's another example. One time I was helping someone declutter their hoarder house. It was a hoarder situation where it was a fire danger, it was a health hazard, and it was extremely dangerous. I spent around 50 hours helping this person get stuff thrown away, get it gone. They had some medical issues. I come back 6 months later to help them start getting going again. And the first portion that we had already worked on was basically back into the state that it was before I even got there to start. So then I started putting pressure on that person saying, listen, I don't mind helping you. And I know you've had a few medical issues, but the few medical issues that you've had does not mean that your house should be in this state that it is again. Then later, when I was pushing back because there was 500 pairs of socks, 1,000 socks at least, left after they had gone through a lot of the socks. And I was like, where are you going to put all of these socks? Even if you continue to go through them, where are you going to put them all? And I started pushing and pushing because this person was not taking responsibility for their actions. They just weren't. So I wasn't going to continue to waste my time helping this person declutter their home when it didn't mean enough to them that they were serious about doing this. So then I was called judgmental. No, you're accountable to me because you asked me for help and I voluntarily gave it. Almost $4,000 worth of hiring a personal organizer to come in and help you do this. And I did it for free because this person was my friend. But then I'm being called judgmental. That's not being judgmental. That is being accountable to me because I have given up my time. I've given up my energy. I have risked my health to help you. And then you are choosing not to maintain your home in a cleanly manner. So I am choosing to not help you anymore. That's being accountable. That's not being judgmental. And I'm noticing a lot of people, the majority of people are getting being judgmental versus being accountable completely mixed up. So in the hoarding home situation, if I would have walked in and said, what's wrong with you? This place is a pigsty. How can anyone live like this? This is absolutely disgusting. And then just walk away, that would be being judgmental, not knowing their situation or anything like that. We weren't doing that with this lady in the video yesterday. She was showing us her home. She was showing us what they eat. She voluntarily was showing people how she can't afford food, supposedly. And yet she's got a soda sitting on the table. Sorry, but you're going to get the truth from me because your choices are what's keeping you poor. And this is why you are poor. And more people need to hear it. And I'm going to keep preaching it because I have been there to where we were, I don't remember, I looked it up one time, but growing up, poverty level was $12,000 and mom was getting $6,000 a year. So poverty level was $12,000. Mom was getting $6,000 a year for 3 people. The poverty level, I think it was for one person, was $12,000. And mom had 3 people on $6,000 a year. And we were able to do it. Was it fun? No, it wasn't fun. It was awful. But mom was responsible for her bills. She was paying her bills. And she cut back on every single thing that she could. So if you have credit cards that you just can't pay, what are the things that you need to cut out? Do you need to cut out buying the Girl Scout cookies? Do you need to cut out the smartphone? Do you need to cut out the car loan? Do you need to cut out eating out? Do you need to cut out the blueberries, the strawberries, the blackberries, the fish, shrimp, steak, salmon, all those healthy, ridiculously expensive foods? You can eat extremely healthy on a low budget. It can easily be done. And I'm going to be giving more of those tips and tricks as we go along. But the first thing you have to realize is that your actions have consequences. And until you are accountable for your choices and understand that those choices have you in the financial situation that you are in right now, you're not going to grow rich. You're not going to get anywhere. So that's Tara's tough love moment for the day. Please go watch this video next to learn how to save more money on your grocery bill. We will see you guys next time, livingonadime.com.